40 Democratic senators are demanding enforcement of HIPAA laws to protect women's medical information from being shared in states enacting restrictive abortion bans. The woman leading this initiative, Washington Senator Patty Murray, who joins me right now. Senator, welcome. First off, let's talk about the Democrats who are looking at Lindsey Graham's pronouncement as potentially some sort of a campaign gift to Democrats, with a little more than 50 days now to the midterms. How do you view what's come out of Senator Graham's mouth and how it can affect the midterms?
I think what Senator Graham is proposing is horrendous and appalling and frightening. Weeks after the Supreme Court, after years of pushing them to do this by the far right, overturned Roe and put this country into chaos and women's lives at stake. I believe firmly that every woman, with her own family, with her own faith, with her own doctor, should have the right to make her own health care decisions. That was ripped away with the constitutional right being taken away by the Supreme Court. The Republicans now, with Lindsey Graham out there saying what their next goal is, they are not giving up. Now they want a national ban on abortion. They want to say to all the women who showed up in Kansas and said, not in our state, you don't matter. They want to say to all the people who signed petitions in Michigan to make sure that they didn't have horrific laws like this, your state doesn't matter. They're saying to my state, who has laws on the book to protect women's rights, your rights don't matter either. And they're proposing a national ban. And I'm going to fight this with everything I have, but they have made their agenda clear. Republicans want to impose a national ban on a woman's right to make her own health care choices.
My reporter Sahil outlined this, but I know that you sent this letter to the Biden administration. We're going to show it here. What is it that you think the administration can do today that would protect women's reproductive rights, at least in the short term?
Well, look, we have seen chaos across the country. State after state has passed these horrific laws. Women who can't leave their state to get the health care they need, providers who are being threatened with being sent to jail. We are seeing women being tracked to determine whether or not they are seeking abortion care. And what we are asking Secretary Becerra and the Department of Health and Human Services to enact a rule to protect the privacy of women and their providers who seek access to health care in this country.
I know that your Republican colleagues, Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, they teamed up with Democrats Tim Kaine and Kyrsten Sinema to introduce the Reproductive Freedom for All Act. And they say that they will codify Roe v. Wade. Some Democrats have already said they're not going to support it, though. Are you on board with it? And do you think it can pass the Senate?
Look, I want to work with anyone who will codify Roe and make sure that women across this country, in whatever state they are in, have the ability to make their own health care choices. So I am looking at legislation to make sure that those states who have already enacted extreme laws will still allow the women in those states who are American citizens to be able to make their own health care choices. So I'm looking at that language carefully. I do have concerns about that, but I will tell you this: if we get the majority, Democrats in the Senate, and keep the House, we will pass legislation to codify Roe.
On another note, after the Supreme Court overturned Roe, another bill to safeguard same-sex marriage was introduced. By the end of this month, the Senate will be voting on it. Republicans seem to be on board with protections, as long as they have protections for religious groups that oppose that. Where do things stand right now, and will Democrats get enough votes to avoid a filibuster and pass it?
Well, I think there is incredible concern in this country that the words of some of our Supreme Court justices very clearly stated when they overturned Roe v. Wade that marriage rights were also on the line, cover of contraception, other things that we have taken for granted. So it's incumbent upon us here in Congress to codify these laws to make sure that the thousands of Americans who believe that their marriage is legal don't have to fear their lives and the threat of that. And we are working right now to codify that language and hoping to bring that bill up here in the Senate very shortly.
Washington Senator Patty Murray, thank you so much for your time.